Hey Liam, let me ask you something. Most people believe they need to sit down and study English for 1 or even 2 hours every single day. Is that actually true, or is it just one of those ideas that everyone just keeps repeating?
I think it's one of the single biggest myths in the entire language learning world. People naturally assume that studying more hours always leads to better results, but that is not what usually happens in real life.
That's surprising. And honestly, that expectation is why so many people give up. They feel like without a massive block of free time, they can't make real progress.
Exactly. The problem isn't the amount of time they have, it's how they're using it. By the end of this lesson, you'll have a simple, hyper-efficient routine you can use immediately, even if your schedule is incredibly busy.
I love that. Practical instead of overwhelming. And before we dive in, you mentioned one specific habit at the end of the video that changes everything, right?
Yes. Make sure to stay until the end because I'm going to share one simple habit that takes less than 30 seconds, and it can completely transform the way you improve your English.
Now I'm even more curious. Well, let's start with the first step. If someone only has a tiny 5-minute window today, what should they do first?
I'd always begin with listening, but probably not in the way most learners expect.
What do you mean by that?
Instead of stressing out and trying to decode every single individual word, you need to focus entirely on catching the overall message, the big picture. That's much closer to what actually happens during a real fast-paced conversation.
I think many learners do the exact opposite. They immediately panic and pause the audio the second they hear an unfamiliar word because they're terrified of missing something important.
And that's one of the worst habits slowing them down. Every single time you hit pause, you interrupt the natural rhythm and flow of the language.
So it's actually better to just let it ride and keep listening, even if I don't understand 100% of it?
Absolutely. Your brain is a pattern recognition machine, and it's much better at doing its job when you let English flow naturally, instead of forcing it to stop every few seconds to translate.
That sounds so much less stressful than treating every single listening exercise like a high-stakes vocabulary test.
It really is. And something almost magical happens when learners stop chasing every single word. They realize they understand much more than they thought.
I imagine that's because they're finally paying attention to the whole conversation instead of getting stuck on tiny details.
Exactly. Native speakers don't process conversations word by word either. They understand ideas.
I never thought about listening that way. Once we finish listening, what do we do during the second minute?
That's when speaking becomes the priority. Go back to the same audio, choose one sentence, and repeat it immediately after the speaker.
Are we trying to memorize it?
Not really. I'd much rather see learners imitate the speaker than memorize the sentence itself.
So the goal is just to sound as natural as possible?
Yes. Pay attention to the rhythm, the pauses, the pronunciation, and the way the words connect naturally.
I think many learners focus so much on individual words that they forget English has its own rhythm.
That's a great observation. Rhythm is exactly why native speakers sound so smooth when they talk.
And I don't think most learners spend much time practicing rhythm at all.
You're right. And that's why repeating complete sentences is so valuable. You're training your ears, your mouth, and your confidence all at the same time.
What if someone feels embarrassed because they don't think they sound very good yet?
That's completely normal. But confidence doesn't appear before practice. Confidence grows because of practice.
I love that, because so many people wait until they feel confident before they even start speaking.
And unfortunately, that day rarely comes. The learners who improve the fastest are the ones willing to sound imperfect while they learn.
So making mistakes isn't the problem. Staying silent is.
That's exactly the mindset successful learners develop.
So we've listened for the big picture and repeated a sentence. What happens during the third minute?
Choose one useful expression from what you just heard.
Just one? I think some learners might expect you to recommend learning 10 new expressions at once.
Because one expression you actually use is far more valuable than 10 you forget tomorrow. Many learners mistake collecting vocabulary for making real progress.
That's so true. Filling pages in a notebook can feel very productive.
It feels productive, but real progress happens when those expressions move into your everyday conversations, not just your notebook.
How should someone actually practice that single expression?
Simple. Imagine the phrase is, "sounds good." Instead of just writing it down, picture real situations where you would say it.
So instead of memorizing, I'm connecting it to real life. That feels like a conversation already, not homework.
Exactly. Your brain remembers context, not isolated lists. The closer your practice feels to real life, the more naturally the English will flow when you need it.
I love that approach. What do we do once we've chosen our phrase?
That brings us to the fourth minute, which is one of the most powerful steps. Instead of copying textbook examples, create 2 or 3 sentences about your own life using that expression.
So the goal is to make it personal.
Exactly. The moment you connect English to your own reality, you stop memorizing. You're actually preparing for a real conversation.
What would that look like in practice?
If the expression is, "sounds good," you might imagine a friend saying, "let's grab coffee after work," and you reply, "sounds good."
I can see why that works. Every example feels completely real.
That's exactly the idea. Native speakers don't memorize isolated expressions. They naturally connect language to situations they've experienced before.
I think many learners spend so much time reading examples that they never actually stop to create their own.
That's the core difference between passive and active learning. Reading helps you recognize English, but creating your own examples teaches you how to use it.
That makes a lot of sense because speaking is about producing language, not just recognizing it. Is it okay if those sentences are simple?
More than okay. Simple sentences are the best place to start because they're the ones you'll actually use in real life.
True. We sometimes forget that because we think advanced English is always more impressive. Now we've reached the 5th and final minute. What should we do before finishing?
The last minute is all about reviewing. Listen to that first sentence one more time, repeat it, and run through your own examples once more before you close out.
I bet a lot of learners would prefer to use that last minute to cram in another expression instead.
That's exactly what they do. But constantly adding new information isn't what creates fluency. Strengthening what you already know is.
Reviewing often feels less exciting than learning something brand new, though.
It does. But excitement and effectiveness aren't always the same thing. Repetition is what moves information from short-term memory into long-term memory.
And that's probably why so many people start with a lot of enthusiasm but drop it a few weeks later.
Exactly. They rely on motivation instead of building habits. Motivation comes and goes, but a good habit sticks around, even on the days you don't feel like it.
So the real secret isn't finding more free time. It's making the most of the time you already have.
That's exactly right. 5 focused minutes every day will almost always produce better results than 2 hours of studying that only happen once in a while.
We've already covered a complete 5-minute routine, and honestly, it feels much more achievable than I expected. But come on, Liam, stop teasing us. What is that 30-second golden habit you promised at the beginning?
All right, no more secrets. The 30-second habit is the environment trigger. It means you leave your English material, whether it's an open tab on your phone, an audio ready to play, or a notebook on your desk, 100% prepared the night before.
Wait, that's it? Just leaving things ready?
It sounds simple, but it's pure psychology. The biggest enemy of consistency is friction. If you have to spend 2 minutes looking for your headphones, opening the app, and choosing a video, your brain gets tired and you give up.
Ah, I see. You eliminate the decision-making process.
Yes. When you wake up, the choice is already made for you. It takes less than 30 seconds to set up at night, but it ensures you actually start your 5-minute routine the next day, without overthinking.
That's brilliant. It completely kills procrastination before it even starts.
Precisely. And once you put all those pieces together, you'll understand why micro-consistency always crushes long, exhausting study sessions. But there's still one missing puzzle piece.
What's that?
Even if you have the perfect habit, it all falls apart if you freeze during a conversation because your mind goes blank.
Oh, that's the ultimate nightmare for every English learner. You finally start talking, and suddenly you have no idea what to say next.
It really is. In fact, before we show you the solution, tell us down in the comments, what is the exact situation where your mind goes completely blank? Is it at work, traveling, or just chatting with friends? We want to know.
Yes, drop your answers below. We love reading them. And Liam, for everyone who is tired of freezing up, what should they do?
You don't have to struggle with that anymore. I've just recorded a step-by-step guide showing you a simple trick to keep any conversation flowing naturally without ever running out of words.
That sounds exactly like what we need next. Where can we find it?
It's right here on the screen. Click on How to Never Run Out of Things to Say in English right now, and I'll see you there in a second.
Bye.
Bye.